Good morning. As we get back into chapter 15 today, Paul has already illustrated the idea of the resurrection by saying, look around. You plant like a grain of wheat or a kernel of corn. You plant a bare seed, and what grows after that seed dies is far, far different than the plain bare seed that you planted. He said in the same way, the resurrection is going to happen. And so he's continuing on with this same idea when he says there are different kinds of seeds. There are different kinds of animals, different kinds of flesh. He says, but God gives it a body just as he wished, and to each of the seeds a body of its own. All flesh is not the same flesh, but there is one flesh of men, and another flesh of beasts, and another flesh of birds, and another of fish. Well, that kind of runs counter to what I was taught in school from our public school textbooks, that man is just another kind of animal. Well, that's not true. All flesh is not the same flesh. And God gives it a body just as he wishes. And his design and his desire is always right. If my opinion differs from him, either he's wrong or I'm wrong, and we all know who's wrong. When my perspective is different than the Bible, when my understanding doesn't line up with God's declaration, something needs to change. I either need to change the Bible or change my mind. And that's kind of a no-brainer. But here he's saying that there are different kinds of flesh by God's choice. The flesh of men, there's the flesh of animals, beasts, birds, fish, and they're not the same. So let's back up and rest on the foundational idea that God's design is trustworthy. And you know that will apply in every area of our life. It will apply to our sexual identity. It will apply to our family identity. It will apply to how we deal with our finances and how we deal with just different circumstances throughout life when we encounter people who make good choices or people who make bad choices. This idea that God's perspective is righteous and true and trustworthy takes off of our shoulders the responsibility of deciding whether God is right or not, whether the circumstances of my life are something that I should rebel against or that I should trust God to do the right thing and to call me to do the right thing. So this whole idea of the resurrection, this whole idea of the different flesh of men, animals, birds, and fish impacts a lot of, in fact, I think it impacts everything about who we are and how we relate to the world around us, how we relate to history, and how we relate to eternity. Until then, remember that God loves you, and we love you too.